Thank you very much. And the story continues. And as you heard with our announcement, it goes on in new ways with new people. More than 30 years ago, a small group of dedicated UUs in the Richmond area got together. Now, this was a time when the internet was still a pilot government project. There was no World Wide Web for you to surf or find important documents. Email was largely a form of inter-office communication among large organizations. This was back before 1993. 93 was when we had Charter Sunday. We had a church service on Halloween in 1993. So this small group of UUs figured that the Richmond area was large enough to support two UU churches. And it turns out they were correct. Two major aspects of church motivated this group. Number one was they wanted a church which was more multi-generational, which included children to a greater extent in Sunday morning service, and where activities and efforts were more multi-generational, so that the kids would see all of these other adults as parent figures. And the parent figures, the adults, would see more childlike and would behave a little more childlike, let their kid out to play. The other thing is they wanted a church that had a more spiritual sense to it and reached not only the head, but the heart and the soul for those people who believe in soul, and encompassed not only theologically UU Christians, but also Muslims, atheists, pagans, Buddhists, and more. The whole gamish of theological beliefs. They wanted that circle to be that large and to be included, not just in Sunday morning, but on a regular basis. So they wrote letters and made phone calls to the UUA office in Boston to find out, what do you do? How do you get this going? And so they had forms sent to them in the US mail. Can you believe it? And we had guidelines and instructions sent in the mail. Wow. So they recruited some other people, some of whom are in the room today. Yes, I see you. And Sharon and I joined this group of people who said, let's do this thing. Let's make this happen. So what do we have to do? Well, number one, we have to keep getting more people inside the circle. Number two, we had to establish what we thought church was. So in the beginning, we said church is more than one person standing up on a Sunday morning. It includes music. So we had a choir. The choir was immense. Tim and Jane Mitchell, Peter and Sharon Defer. It was huge. All four of us. Well, it grew. We had an RE program. Now it was the one church school, right? The one room schoolhouse church school at first. And we added all the parts that we knew from our previous experience made church church. It even included a stewardship drive in year 2, and an annual dinner, and music, and getting together in small groups. We had a Christmas Eve service at the Thayer's house. It was wonderful. We did all of these parts. And so what did we do to make sure that this continued? We wrote it down. We wrote down what our beliefs were. We wrote down what we wanted church to be like. We set down a structure and bylaws, and we kept adding people into this system. And now, here we are today, a larger group of UUs dedicated to the same principles. We've carried the principles forward, and we've carried on with our committees that give us joy and give us structure and give us, safe congregations and give us ministry things to do and give us worship and give us all that we hold dear in this church. And I thank you for doing it.